Welcome to Education Lifeline. This is Trishita Paul, and today we will be finding arithmetic sequences and their rules given two terms. Now, if you haven't watched our previous videos on arithmetic sequences, a playlist will be linked in the description below, as well as on the top right-hand corner of your screen. Please check those videos out before watching this one. Here we are asked to find the explicit and recursive rules, as well as the first 5 terms of the arithmetic sequence given f of 3 is equal to 6 and f of 5 is equal to 12. Now, there are 2 ways to solve this, but first let's recall the formula for explicit rule, which is f of n is equal to f of 1 plus d times n minus 1. Now our first method is to use a system of equations where we find 2 equations using our 2 terms and then solve for d. If we do that, we get f of 3 is equal to, we don't know the value of f of 1, we don't know d, and n minus 1, 3 minus 1. So substituting f of 6 for f of 3, we can simplify this down to 6 is equal to f of 1 plus 2d. And doing the same thing with f of 5, we get that equal to f of 1 plus d times 5 minus 1. F of 5 is equal to 12 plus 4d. And now if you subtract this equation from this equation, we should be able to solve for d. So that's negative 6 is equal to negative minus 2d. That's 6 is equal to 0 plus 2d. And we get d is equal to 3. Now we can plug our common difference back into either one of these equations to find the value of our first term. So if we use this first equation, we get 6 is equal to f of 1 plus 2 times 3, which is 6 is equal to f of 1 plus 6. So f of 1 is equal to 6 minus 6, or 0. And now that we have the value of our first term and the value of our common difference, we can simply plug it back in to our explicit formula. F of n is equal to 0 plus 3n minus 1. And simplifying that, we get f of n is equal to distributing 3n minus 3. We can also write a recursive rule. Recall that a recursive rule is f of n is equal to f of n minus 1 plus d, where n has to be greater than or equal to 0, and we have to give our value of f of 1. So in this case, our recursive rule is f of n is equal to f of n minus 1 plus 3, where f of 1 is equal to 0. Last but not least, we can write the first 5 terms of our arithmetic sequence, starting with f of 1 is equal to 0, our common difference of 3. We can simply just add a common difference of 3, or we could also use our explicit or recursive rules. In this case, I'll just add 3 to each term, 0, 3, 6, 9, and 12. And we see that the values of f of 3 and f of 5 match. So we know that our common difference and our first term are correct. Now, another way to solve it is to kind of tweak this explicit formula. And when I say tweak, I mean let's change the values of n and 1. So change the value of n to a higher number of 5 and change the value of 1 to 3. And this will make much sense when we plug in. So changing n to 5 and changing this 1 to 3, we can easily find our common difference. So once again, changing that n to 5 and that 1 to 3. Now plugging in 12 for f of 5 and 6 for f of 3, that's 2d. We get 2d is equal to 6, or d is equal to 3. And we can follow that same process and get our explicit recursive rules as well as the first 5 terms of the arithmetic sequence. Now, one thing to note is some textbooks will not use this form f of n. They will instead use a of 3 is equal to 6 and a of 5 is equal to 12. So instead of the explicit formula f of n is equal to f of 1 plus dn minus 1, some textbooks will write a of n is equal to a1 plus dn minus 1. And these are the same thing. Similarly, if our recursive rule is f of n is equal to f of n minus 1 plus d given f of 1, some textbooks will use the form a of n is equal to a of n minus 1 plus d given a sub 1. If this video was helpful, please drop a like and subscribe to Education Lifeline. Be sure to watch our next video on arithmetic sequence word problems and check the description for more helpful resources. We include tips as well as practice problems in the description of every video. Please make sure to leave any questions in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.